Hello, everyone. Larry Dillon from Scalable Insights Podcast, bringing you people and ideas to help you grow and scale your business. All right. Welcome, everyone, back to the podcast where we bring you ideas and concepts on how to grow and scale your business. We've got with us today Jeff, the producer. Jeff, how are you today?
Fantastic. How are you?
Jeff has been editing videos like crazy today. Today's been a busy day, right?
I think I've memorized every podcast so far, word for word.
And again, direct from Cambridge, England, the one, the only, the legend, David Parry. David, how are you?
Fantastic, Larry, and delighted to be back here again. It's such a fun to be here.
Yeah.
To learn from you, to go through stuff we're doing, and I've done a lot, but you've done a lot as well. So over the last 20 odd years that we've known each other, it's great.
It's
and the weather's glorious here.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Yeah, it's raining in the UK.
So, I gotta say that David and I have known each other for 25 years. You were a client. You managed, was it the largest or one of the largest office furniture manufacturers, largest office furniture manufacturer in the UK.
Yeah.
So you bought our relocation leads. We're very successful with that. We've developed a friendship from there and for many years. And then we developed Technology Marketing Reports. You came on board with that. That was an incredible ride. Yeah. That was fun. And then since then...
Pivotal moment for me.
Pivotal moment for all of us. It was incredible. And first lead source to be over the interweb. Yeah. We were blowing people's minds. That was amazing. And David, you've probably seen his bio. If you... you'll check it. We've got your bio, but short story, 21 years, 17 different companies, doubled, tripled, quadrupled. First company went from like 11 million to 25 million. Second company went from 60 million to 120 million. And then, the cool thing, a couple months ago, we talked about the one that went from whatever it was, 4 or 5 million to 15 million in like a year, like a little more than a year. Just incredible results. And I got to say that, since we started this series, I look at my business differently. Even though we know each other and you've reminded me of some of the concepts I've forgotten about that I used to do, that we didn't do. But man, it has been doing this podcast has just been amazing for my business.
For me too, Larry. I mean, you've reminded me of things that I'd forgotten.
Yeah,
of things that I got out of the practice of doing.
Right.
It's helped me. It's sharpened my blade as well in the work that I do. So, and that's the benefit of this, isn't it? It's the benefit of chatting it through, because sometimes you get into a routine and you get
into the weeds, man.
And sometimes you need to just say, hang on a minute, and your phrase, the one thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Focus on one thing at a time. Don't try to bite off more than you can chew. Yeah. And it's that's been the surprising thing for me. And it's fun. The people that I've had on the podcast are all people that I respect and admire and have killed it. But every single one, and it goes back to, we were talking a while ago about my friend. I was going to go skiing in Colorado for the first time, and had been skiing since I was 8 years old. I think it was in my 40s, which is about 300 years ago. And she said, you should get private lessons when you go there. And I was like, hey, listen, I've been skiing since I was 8. I've been skiing ice moguls on the East Coast. And then she just whispered in my ear, Olympic skiers get 8 hours of private instruction every day. And man, that is, so, I got a private instructor, and man, you jump. You think you're good, but you suck. But the thing is that if you can apply that to anything in life, and if you're running your business, what are you doing to get your private instruction? What are you doing to constantly?
It's I work as well as the company turnaround stuff, Larry. I mean, I work as a mentor to some fairly senior people, and it's not they know far more than I do about their businesses, of course. But sometimes it's just you have a sounding board and somebody to give you a different perspective. That's all it is.
Right.
And to see things in a different light. And I think the advantage for me is not. I mean, you talk about all these companies that I've helped grow. I keep saying to you, it's the companies that grew, not me. I just kind of guided them a bit. I just got lucky.
One lucky son of a bitch.
I just arrived at the right time. But and there's a lot of truth in that. But I guess the advantage for me now is it's happened to me so many times over the years. It isn't a fluke anymore. Now but you get to learn what works, what doesn't work, and it means that you can look at the situation and say, oh well, actually it's probably that area that's causing the problem.
Right.
It's a bit more sophisticated than that in the way we do it, but logically that's what it is. Yeah, and it's just it's just saying, oh, hang on, did you look at it in this way? Maybe you should look at it slightly differently. Exactly as we've talked about today. Yeah.
Get your coaching. And you see interviews with highly successful people that read books all the time, and we started delivering content suggestions to our customers, so that every week they can just click on their phone and listen to, hey, here's the idea for the week. We've got it set up for, leadership, and then also for the sales team to just constantly remind them.
Yeah.
And we've got the coaching, our sort of online coaching program. Not, I'm trying to sell that, but whatever you do, you should be thinking about, like, what am I doing to get my 8 hours a day of instruction, right? Yeah. So obviously we don't have 8 hours a day,
that. Yeah.
But what people like about the the little words, like we have, I think our first one was like 4 easy steps for converting leads into appointments. It's like a 15-minute little audio. You can, listen to it in the car, and people have been responding really well to that. Like, that's really helped me, because I sucked. I literally sucked before, and just try to break it down. So, but wherever you can get that, audiobooks or reading. And I'm sure
most people, like you and I mean, I do the same thing every day, 5 o'clock.
Yep.
I go running.
Yep.
And what do? I listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
I still need to learn. I still need to,
Yeah. Podcasts have been, great for me. I have some podcasts that I listen to, and not just for business, but for different things. But it's interesting, and everything relates. But the more you should think about, like, what is that private instruction? And there are wonderful coaches out there, wonderful programs. Not just what we have to offer, but you should, invest in yourself and.
Whether you're the salesman or the CEO of a mega global corporate, invest in yourself.
Well, and that's the cool thing that I liked about this series so far, is talking with you, because, and we talked about this, like, it's, oh my God, I didn't realize that there was that much, because we would always have these conversations. We'd get together. I'd come to England. We'd go to a pub. We'd hang out, have some beers, and just talk about sales and selling and all that stuff. It's not, it's not recorded, and you forget about it. Like, there are some great ideas, but you're not sitting there taking down notes, because, we're just hanging out. And also with my other buddies who are, in a leadership role, they own their own business, or they're in a leadership role in a company. And we had the great conversations about stuff, but nobody's writing this stuff down. But the cool thing about the podcast is we're just having a conversation like we would, Friday, like right now it's Friday afternoon. We'd go out to a pub or something and just talk about, like, what had crazy stuff that happened a week, or different ideas that we had. And that's the cool thing about, I think, what I love about the podcast. It's recorded. Thank you, producer Jeff.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Did I announce you? Did I welcome you into the podcast today, or did I neglect you?
You usually do, but
I think I did. Did I?
You did. You did. Yeah.
Jeez, I hate to make you feel alone and isolated.
Well, you never seem to be too thrilled.
You're still the new guy. You got to prove yourself. So, no, producer Jeff's doing a great job. But that and that's the cool thing. When we do the podcast, it's not really, it's not scripted. We're just, like I said, just having a conversation, which is so much fun for me. So, and
me too.
My God, the stuff that bubbles out is so much fun. So I was thinking about your success, and I know that you've worked with companies, and I know normally we pick a company that you've taken, doubled, tripled, quadrupled. But today I'd like to do something a little different in this series, because what I was thinking about, I know we've had conversations where you've worked with companies where the key, the catalyst or the multiplier for the growth was understanding the channel. Absolutely. I guess you were working with vendors and then the channel. And channels come in all shapes and sizes. So even if you're, before we get started, I was thinking about this, like, I'm going to take it from the small to the top, and then I'm going to ask you. So I have my customers who are very successful, and they sort of have their little mini micro channel. Mm-hmm. And that might be if they're in the real estate business, or if they're in the furniture business, or, they might have, or movers, they'll have facilities managers, and that's their channel. And so they wine and dine those people and keep in touch with them, and they're trying to drive business through that channel. Other people have like a referral network, and that's kind of an adaptation of a channel. And a lot of the rock stars that I know, they spend the time on working with that one entity or that one person that can bring them multiple deals, and it really multiplies your effect. And then you have it up all the way to the top. And I thought it would be interesting for everyone to sort of dissect it from the very most sophisticated, complicated level. Because I always can look at things, and if they're explained to me, I can pick out pieces that I'm like, ooh, maybe I should change my business, or maybe I should look at my business differently. Maybe it doesn't apply directly, but I can take pieces out of that. So talk to us about some of the companies that you've worked with where the key to your success was juice in the channel. What are the challenges? What is, how did you unlock, success by working the channel? First, explain helicopter view, big picture.
Sure. So helicopter view is, let me start with, so of the, I don't know what it is now, 16, 17 companies that I've helped over the last 21 years. I'd say certainly 40% of those have been big channel businesses, and they range from global channel. So, I've been in businesses where, in fact, one of the ones that we spoke about before, when it went from 60 to 125 million in 2 years, that was a channel business. Pure distribution channel business in the technology arena. So what you've got in the channel is just dissect the channel a bit from a helicopter point of view. So if you've got your vendor, whoever they are, whatever size at the top, and they have layers. So it might be wholesale, it might be distributors and different kinds of distributors. In the technology world, you'll have your value-added distributors, or VADs, or you'll have the broadline distribution where it's box shifting, but in high volume. But the VADs will add their services on top of whatever it is they're distributing. And then, of course, you've got the reseller layers, and as you said, you've got maybe your referral partners, maybe your commission only salespeople, and so on. So there's multiple ways of describing the channel. And one of the biggest errors that I've seen. So in all the business, in all those businesses, we've had one business example, not the one that was the £60 million one, but this was the 10 to 25 one. We started off with they had over 1,000 resellers, but the resellers were broad. It was a broadline IBM storage. It was a storage business, so it was broadline distribution. and the resellers were good at what they did, but they box shifting. They were providing the physical products. And then that business wanted to move into a managed service scenario. So it's now a much more complex solutions sell. And they've been struggling they got to a fair size, got a £10 million business, $10 million business. But they've been struggling for maybe 3 years to get it, and it wouldn't move. It wasn't growing. And that's why they engaged me. And one of the immediate things to realize is the kind of people they were trying to sell these services through just weren't the right kind of channel. Like we talk about the ideal customer. Well, this is like the ideal channel partner, which they didn't have the ideal channel partner for selling complex solutions. And so what we did, we screened those 1,000 or more channel partners. We found, I think, out of 1,000, maybe 10 or 11 who were actually the right kind of business. They were small, they were agile, they were keen, they wanted to grow, and they had the right caliber of people who could sell complex solutions, and wanted to sell complex solutions. And then we added. I think we had another 20. So we ended up with about 30 of these channel partners. They were referral partners in the main. So we had our own team of channel salespeople, and our channel salespeople would work with this was business to business. So they'd work with the channel partners and their customers. And then as time moved on, the channel partners themselves would manage the customers. But the amount of effort that we would put in to those 30 odd, this is now the business that went from 10 to 25 with $60 million of forward order contracts after 2 years. So it was a huge success, very high margin, high 18% EBITDA and so on. So but in order to get that level of growth, first of all, we treated the channel partners as if they were our own sales team. Mm-hmm. First point. The tough thing you've got, of course, is you don't own their businesses. They are independent businesses.
Right.
And so the nature of the relationship you're managing a channel partner is more of it's a collaborative affair. So there has to be value for the distributor or channel partner as well as you, the vendor. So it's not you just saying, here's my product, go and sell it, because that's not going to happen. It's got to be both ways. It's got to be a value to them. And number of customers or people, companies that I find that will assume because they found a channel partner that they're going to get sales. And surprise, they don't.
And I remember when we had technology marketing reports, we went to a very large vendor that had channel partners and didn't want to dirty their hands with the channel partners. They just expected them to bring the revenue on. Certainly didn't want to have anything to do with the end user.
Yeah.
And they promptly went bankrupt, and that was tens of millions, of billions of dollars in revenue. As a 50-year-old technology company that just got landslide, and their competitor, Cisco, had 5,000 inside sales reps that were basically connecting end users to the channel. Well, Cisco's bringing you to the dance. Whose product do you think they're going to recommend? Exactly. Their competitor who's like, oh, I don't want to mess my hands with, the we channel people. So
that's a great example of how to manage your channel, Larry, because I remember the Cisco scenario, of course. And so having understood that just because you found a channel partner does not mean to say they're going to bring you any business. Even if you found a channel partner where you carefully select, for goodness sake, decide, like you choose your ideal customer, you choose your ideal channel partner. Why do you want a channel partner? Is it because your end user customer is too far away, they're too distributed maybe in different countries, maybe in different markets, maybe you need local knowledge? So if I'm a European business and I want to sell into Asian markets, then maybe I need people in that local market who understand the nuances of that local market. And that might be the reason I work through a channel partner. And there are many reasons why you do it. But having understood that, then you need to understand that if I go along to a channel partner and say, here, I've got this widget, and I want you to sell it for me, or the service, whatever it is, if it doesn't add value to their business, they're not going to sell it.
Right.
And so I had an example with another company where they were, for a year, they've been focused on finding channel partners, and they were looking for big consultancy partners in America. And at the end of it, they had nothing, no sales, no, and so they'd wined and dined and tried to, and the reason, which was obvious for me when we got there, the reason was there was no value for that consultancy partner to sell these services. It was nice to have, it looked great, but it didn't add value. And so if you were the MD of that company and your sales guys started selling something else and they turned their heads away from the thing that you wanted them to sell, then clearly you wouldn't be very happy. So if you've got a channel partner, it has to be something that's going to add value to their company, and so that's the starting gate. But then, like your Cisco example, Larry, you need then to say, well, okay, so how am I going to help this channel partner sell my products? So one of the problems you've got as a vendor.
So and then this is the connection between, now you're talking about connecting the channel partner to the end user.
Correct.
Right. And getting that marriage going, because if you have 100 or 1,000 different channel partners, you have 1,000 different levels of marketing expertise.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you've got more than that. You've got your in that one channel distribution channel. You've got one of the countries that I worked. We were in 19 countries, and we had well over 1,000 resellers. So we had 32 vendors, and it was complex solutions we were selling. And one of the challenges that the vendors have is that our sales teams had so many products, a certain defined portfolio to sell. And so as a vendor, how do you get the mind share of that salesperson to promote your product? Because they've got other things, maybe there are other things that get more commission or more margin or whatever. So there'll be reason. So you need to provide a reason, and B, the assistance to that distribution sales organization to sell to promote your products. So back to your Cisco scenario. So the kind of things that we used to do, or the vendors that would do for us, is that they would provide us with, we call them funded heads. So we would recruit salespeople specifically to sell their products, but on our sales team that they would pay for. They would provide all manner of marketing programs for us and for our salespeople to sell. And they would do exactly like the Cisco thing. So they would create those kind of programs, reaching out. So you either push, it's a push and pull thing in a channel. You either push through the channel, so you provide all the tools and all the help and all the effort from the top down through the channel, or you do both. You do the other thing, and you pull the opportunity through the channel by doing exactly what Cisco did.
And I can give you some hard numbers. I love studying K10s from companies. So during this time when they, when their competitors were going bankrupt, I compared Cisco's numbers to, some of these competitors that went out of business. And their, I think I got this right, their gross profit was 68%. Their competitors' gross profit was like 25%. They were spending 25% on sales and marketing and 10% on research and development at this time, where their competitor would flip that. They were spending 25% on research and development, 10% on sales and marketing. And I'm like, you're getting your butt whooped at double the gross profit. And clearly they're spending 2.5 times percentage-wise on sales and marketing. And surprise, surprise, they're getting the result. And I remember I was at a trade show, and this is how dialed in they were. And this is, we were talking earlier about pick up the phone.
Oh,
like people
goodness,
still,
yeah.
it beats everything. Like if everyone's just communicating through email, don't be a lemming and be like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to communicate. Well, that's what it says on the research. Everybody's communicating through email now and through social. No, step up. Like that's not how you become a rock star. You're like, oh, everyone's in email. I'm going to do email. I'm going to cover you on social media and everything else. Plus, I'm going to make one phone call. Yeah. Because in a phone call, you can get a connection with the person. You can get them they'll tell you stuff that they'll never tell you in an email. But anyway,
that's your Cisco model.
Yeah. And I was at this trade show, And, you had these, different events that you go to. And I met this guy from Cisco, Tim, let's say. And Tim's like, oh, give me your card, Larry. So I give him my card, my business card. I get his business card. And that was it. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, next week, back at the office. And I get, Larry, it's Cisco on the phone. I'm like, wow. Okay, I'm going to take that call. Hello. It's Billy from Cisco, not Tim, Billy. Hey, Billy, how's it going? Hey, I understand you met Tim at the, whatever conference it was. I'm like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I just wanted to call to see if you're happy with your current managed service provider. And I'm like, actually, no, we're thinking about, switching ship. They're like, oh, well, we've got a great, vendor, managed service, MSP. Why don't I have them come and meet with you with our local rep? I'm like, okay. Now, the odds are in their favor, right? Because I think it's 5% or 3% of people they'll switch their MSP this year. But that means if they have 5,000 people and they make, I don't know, 30 dials a day, what is that? 15,000, 150,000. That means, and 3%, that's like 45,000 times a day. They're finding people that are unhappy with their current MSP.
Sure.
That's crazy. And they crushed it. They just, dominated this back in the 90s and 2000s.
So what you're talking about, Larry, is you're talking about the pull through the channel. You're enabling the channel. The other thing
let me stop for a second. Every time that I've seen this arrogance with the manufacturer of like, oh, they're not long lived. No. I can think of 3 companies off the top of my head.
They don't succeed for sure.
They don't
in the
succeed.
Channel, no.
They don't get the margins. They're like, they're gonna bring us the business. Well, you're not going to get the margins, right? Because you didn't do anything. So I'll beat you up on price. It's like the furniture industry. These guys drive me crazy. They're like, oh, our margins are terrible. I've been at conventions where they've got like the pitchforks. The manufacturers are up there in their beautiful suits and they're matching. They've got the purple striped shirt with the purple cufflinks and
the Rolex watches.
The Rolex watches, and they've got a panel of the 3 big furniture manufacturers. They're like la da 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 da, and meanwhile the crowd is like, well, what about us? We need to, we're getting slaughtered out here because our margins are being obliterated. But what I noticed in that channel is the local furniture dealers wait until the designer brings them business. But the designer is like, well, I'm bringing you the business, so you better give me 45% off. Well, of course you have to, because they're bringing you the business, but go around them and bring the designer the business, then you deserve the right to get that deal at a higher margin. But, and they're just, that's just the way it is.
That's actually a really important point. You just reminded me, Larry, about pricing and margins in the channel. So,
but it is flipping. It's flipping the norm, right? Like you cannot to succeed in the channel. I mean, in your experience, let me ask you this. So that's. I don't know if you have an analogy. I don't know if you have an analogy, but they're all saying, "Hey, we get beat up on price." Well, you're waiting for the designer to bring you deals. And when I was doing furniture installation, my objective, I could go to the dealers and say, "That's my channel, right? Bring me deals." And if they got beat up, we had to take 50% off a list. So Larry, you're going to have to install this product at 50% off a list. I'm like, I don't want to do that. So let me just finish 1 second. So what I did is that's how I got into the lead business. I'm like, I'm bringing the dealer in, and you better, I don't care how much you discount, jackass. If I bring you in on a $200,000 deal and my piece of the pie is, maybe 10 or 20,000, I'm in at full price because I brung you to the dance. Yeah, if you bring me to the dance, you can beat me up, but do not beat me up to the if I bring you to the dance, because guess what? Next time I ain't bringing you. But I didn't stand for that. I worked too hard. But to this day, and I try to coach them on it, like bring the designer in, because now you've got some leverage. But you wait, and obviously not on the first deal. That's not going to happen. It's a slow process, but you have to have a process in place to say, I don't want to give 50% discounts anymore. Well, then say, okay, how do I get to 30%? But it's not going to be waiting till your distributors bring you in. In that case, it was the designer. So anyway, do you have a parallel or something
many of them now.
The technology?
What you're talking about is the you're effectively what you're doing is by bringing that designer in, you're creating a future referral partner, because once you bring them business, then they're going to bring you, and it's a quid pro quo. Both sides win. The bit I want to come back to though is what you talked about, margins and pricing in the channel. In all channels there is a clear structure, or should be, about who's got what margin. So I will meet people who will say, well, the channel partners can do it, and because they're there, and I'll give them 3% or 5% or whatever. But the model in that particular business might be that the manufacturer gets 40%, the distributor gets 30%, and the retailer gets 30%. And that varies. But you have to understand that all parts of the channel are there to make money.
Right.
And so you have to create a clear structure for your channel partners. You can't just go into it and say, I'm going to go to a channel without having thought through, well, what's the end price?
Right.
How do you manage? I mean, you can't. You got to be careful about pricing, because you can't dictate what the end price is.
No,
that's entirely. But you still need to. I mean, in one business I was in, which was a consumer electronics business, biggest problem we had were grey markets. So people going cross country. Selling, and it's really easy. So selling product from one on Amazon, selling one product from one country to another, but undercutting the margins of your local distribution or reseller partners, and that was a constant battle. But you have to have a clear structure in the first place in order to be able to manage, in order to be able to maintain and manage those kind of things when they happen.
But if you flip the switch, I just want to get back to this. So you're all your competitors, right? You're the vendor. You sell through the distributors. Your competitors are waiting till the distributors bring you in on the deal. But if you do things to help your distributors get more business, like you connect the end user to the distributor, don't you deserve higher margins? Can't you?
Where you take the margin from?
In other words,
just think it through. So if I'm a vendor,
right,
and I've got my distributor, and the distributor makes 30%, let's say.
And I'm not talking about the price that you get paid, the nominal price that you get paid for your product. Let me give you an example in technology, right? So in the case of Cisco, right? So they came out, brought the Cisco. They're like, oh, Larry, here's what the MSP said to me, right? Oh, don't buy your PCs from us. Get it here. You can get them cheaper. Don't buy through us. Oh, the servers, do this online. You'll get it cheaper. Do this online. Do you think they told me to buy the Cisco? Whose product do you think, whose network equipment you think they put in there? Did they tell me to go elsewhere to get it beat? No, they went in, and that's why. And the proof is in the pudding. You can look at their K10s, 68% gross profit. Versus 25%.
Yeah, but all they're doing, Larry, is exactly what we said earlier on. So you've got your push through the channel of marketing, and you've got your pull through the channel, and you do both. You don't. It's,
right.
It's not.
But don't. Shouldn't you set in your head, I should make more margin than my competitor that just does the pull through instead of the push through? I deserve more. Take your margin.
No. If I'm the vendor, providing you with a pull through service, so I give you sales leads.
Yeah,
you're my channel partner.
Right.
Why would you want more margin?
Because I made the effort. Like if you're going to make...
No, hang on.
Yeah.
I'm the vendor.
Right.
And in my vendor channel, I got the vendor, I got my distribution channel, and I got my resellers, and I got my end customers.
Right.
Yeah. So if I provide you, my distributor, with marketing dollars...
Yes.
Or we share. Obviously you've got your margins as well. It's separate. So there's a pot of marketing dollars that you spend and I spend.
Right.
Me as a vendor, you as a distributor. Now part of those marketing dollars might be I'll provide your sales team with training, and so on. But also the other part of that marketing dollar is I'll spend it on your end user marketing to find you customers.
Right. But what I'm saying is I'm going big picture. So if you have two vendors, they both sell exactly the same equipment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say they sell servers.
Yeah,
and let's say the servers, the same exact server cost $20,000, right? That's the retail price is 20 grand, right? So you have a customer that comes in and there's A and you're B, right? The value of that server at full price is 20 grand. Now, you could get discount, you could tell them. So if I'm B and I'm bringing that customer to you and they're going to spend 20 grand on a server, don't I deserve to get my $20,000 at full price?
Who's your eye? Are you talking about the vendor or are you talking about the distributor?
I'm talking about the vendor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
if I bring you to the dance, don't beat me up on price. In other words, does that make sense?
No.
Because this is what Cisco did. Cisco got their vendors, in my case, right? The vendor told me, I'm the buyer, right? They told me, get the, because the hardware guy didn't bring me in. So you know what the vendor said? Fuck you, you didn't bring me in on the deal? Hey, Larry, go get it cheaper over here. But if I brought you in and I'm the hardware guy, I better see, Larry's server and that at full price.
I understand, and that's
I'm saying
that's simply managing the discounts that you got in the channel.
But what I'm saying is a big impact on, and I have the evidence with Cisco, 68% gross profit versus 25% gross profit, exactly the same product.
Yeah, but what Cisco were doing, and we're going on in circles here.
But that's what I'm
Cisco
saying.
were doing was pulling the opportunities
and
through the market for the distribution channel.
They're selling their product at a higher margin as a result of that. And my contention is that the reason that they're doing that is they're pulling it where their competitors were not.
Well, exactly right.
That's what I'm saying,
Okay,
is that when you engage in this process, you're not only going to get higher unit sales, your objective is, I deserve to get a higher margin on my product that my vendor doesn't tell the customer to go there. So what I'm saying is there's two multipliers there. Like, you should be aiming for 68% gross profit instead of 25%. Do you follow me? In terms,
we're talking the same thing, because it's it's the same thing. If I've got two vendors, one spends money on marketing, through their channel, and the other one doesn't.
Exactly.
Well, guess what? The one that's spending money to help the channel get sales,
right?
They're going to do more business. They're going to make more margin. The vendor that doesn't do it and thinks the channel is going to do it for them won't. So,
exactly. Because I don't care as the MSP. Here. I don't care.
All I'm saying, Larry, is that there is a. It's not a haphazard thing. It's a clearly defined structure. Right. So if I want to sell on the channel, so if I'm in 90 countries and I've got 1,000 resellers, I can't just leave it to chance that they're going to sell my product.
Right. Exactly. But
so what I have to do is to have first of all, I have a program that says, here's the pricing structure, the base pricing structure. We agree. I will agree with the distributor what marketing dollars I will spend. There's always a bit up my sleeve if there's a need to do it. Like you said, if I need to help a distributor win a deal, then of course you do that. But equally, the distributor is also going to spend money. So that's the basic structure of the relationship. What I then do to help that distributor sell my products, of course, is that's what makes me a better vendor than the next guy, because I've got a better marketing program. I've chosen the right distributors. I'm helping them. I'm doing a Cisco. I've got a telemarketing campaign. I've got whatever marketing campaign, reaching out to the end customers that I want to reach through my channel.
Right.
And I pull those opportunities in.
And I guess what I'm saying is you're less likely to be faced with the situation where the distributor comes to you and says, "Hey, I've got this multi-million-dollar deal. There's $500,000 in hardware. I need you to take $100,000, a 20% haircut, because you didn't know." But if I brought you, if I was the MSP and that's what I needed to do, I'd have no problem going to the vendor who didn't bring me in. I'm bringing you in on this deal. I can bring anyone in. Like, I don't have to. And this is what the interior designers do sometimes to the furniture dealers. I can use their 3 furniture companies. Hey, if you're not going to give me 50% off a list because I'm bringing you in on this deal, this guy will. But if I bring you in on the deal, don't pull that. But anyway, what I'm saying, I'm beating this up, is that if you put the effort in, you should have an objective that your gross profit in general is higher because you should get beat up less from the distributors.
Or you get more business.
Well, I think if you do that, you should get both. I don't think it's an if or. I think you should get both. And like I said,
but but Larry, I'm not sure. I think we'll drop it in a minute because we But for me, I've worked with, I don't know, 6 or 7 different companies in 50 odd countries.
Yep.
With thousands of resellers. So I've been in that Cisco scenario.
Yep.
And of course there are always deals. There are always resellers at the end of that food chain that have got their own customer base that are then, instead of being just working with one vendor, they're going to play several vendors off against each other to get the best deal.
Yep.
I understand that. Of course it is. But I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is, as a vendor, if my strategy is to go through the channel rather than go direct sales, I will choose the right kind of channel. I'll have a very structured pricing structure across that channel. I will agree with that channel partner what marketing dollars I'm going to spend and what marketing dollars they're going to spend. Because of the margin they're going to make on my product. I will find them. I'll help them grow business for them as well as me. Maybe I'll train their salespeople. Maybe in the IT company I talked about, we not only did we train their salespeople, we trained the companies on how to manage their businesses because they were small companies that needed help with their finances and everything else.
And better trained sales reps will get the same deal at higher margins.
Absolutely
all of this.
Right.
What I'm trying to say is all of this methodology contributes to you not only getting more unit sales, but it's also going to help you get higher margins. I think I'm just trying to plant the seed that why not have that objective? If I'm spending more money to bring you business versus my competitor who isn't, then I think it's a reasonable thing to have as an objective. That I should be able to get 5%.
I understand.
More margin.
We're just
all this stuff.
We're
but
just
training
seeing it through the different end of the telescope.
Right. But training. If you're the vendor and you're training, taking the time to coach, and spending dollars to coach the.
Which is how we went from 10 to 25 with $60 million worth of business. Exactly that. Yeah.
So there was training involved with the.
Listen, absolutely. We spent a huge amount of time and effort. With me, actually delivering training at the end point, going out with training their companies, training their sales teams, giving them the sales tools, enabling them to sell, spending money on marketing dollars on lead generation programs. So we would provide them with leads. We had, in the 19 country distributor, on our CRM system, we would track all the leads. We would generate leads to farm out to our distribution partners. But then we track to see what they actually did with them to make sure that they were actually, and if they didn't make use of them, we'd pass them to other people.
Exactly. You take control.
Flipping right we would, yeah.
Yeah. And
so the channel is all I'm saying is the channel is a collaborative affair, but highly structured. And I remember my first boss telling me, my first time in the channel, or the investor that I worked with, saying to me that, if you're in the channel, be in the channel. If you're not in the channel, don't be in the channel. But you can't do both. Because the channel partner, he said, or in his words, if you screw the channel, it'll screw you.
Right.
And so if you've got channel partners, you have to be loyal to the channel partners. So the other thing, so this is the other side of channel management that I've seen where, you decide to go in the channel, you do the right things, you support the channel and so on. And then you think, oh, that's a nice big juicy deal. We'll take that one direct. And then, so the channel will see that you're stealing business from them, and you are.
Oh, and I've heard this. I've heard this from my customers, Larry, and nothing pisses them off more than that.
And it will stay with them for years. I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
And it was 10 years afterwards that when that vendor's there trying to get distribution, not a chance.
Yeah.
Because they don't trust them, and so you have to have absolute trust with your channel partners that, no matter what, that you're going to stick with them in good and bad times. And so, I think I told you about the $3 million deal on the back of a napkin. That was with a channel partner who trusted me or trusted the business,
right,
that we would look after them, and we did.
So the more effort that you put in, the more dollars that you spend smart dollars to help them market their business. Because we see this with the phone distributors that we sell to. We sell to tons of companies who sell phone systems. Is one of our biggest categories, and also the MSPs, and that's and then.
Yeah, so
your
Insight PRM service is a really good example. I mean, because it's like Cisco, isn't it? So what you're doing is if you were working in the channel, you'd be providing those services for those for the vendors,
right,
through their channels. So you would be doing exactly the same that Cisco were doing, where you'd be using your Insight PRM model to find the opportunities. Well, I know it's not just lead generation; it's a lot more than that. What you do, but you understand the logic. But what you're doing is finding opportunities to create business for those channel partners, and those channel partners in turn are going to be awfully thankful to the vendor for helping them grow their business.
Yeah, and we've seen this with, especially with the phone companies, and we can stack rank like all of our customers on a scale of 1 to 100. Who's the most savvy? The best sales team, the best marketing team, and in general, again, they tend to have the highest growth, the highest margins, and the most success. And they're also the ones that tend to get a lot of marketing dollars, and they'll talk to us honestly about like the vendors that they're working with, and they're like, "What have they done for me?"
Exactly.
They give us all this fluff. We go to the trade show, and they're all up there, in their ivory tower, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, we want deals.
Yeah.
We want you to bring us business, help us sell to our customers. It's pretty simple.
And if you build,
I mean, obviously they want like a killer product and features.
Well,
and stuff
exactly.
like that.
And the, I think of this consumer electronics business I was in. And the IT, but we created an annual conference for our distributors. It's like having the annual sales conference, and where they would get to learn. They were part of the family, so they understood where we were going, what our product roadmaps were, what special deals we had for them. Where we were supporting them with extra marketing dollars, or maybe we were supporting them with greater margins, depending on what it was. But you built. That's the key. That's the thing for me, is that it's not just a I sell to you, Mr. Resell, and you sell to your customers. Definitely not that.
Right.
This is it's the partner thing. You're a partner.
Yeah.
You're part of my family, and we're going to work with you to help you grow your business.
Yep.
And if you take that approach to your channel, my goodness me, it'll grow.
Yeah, because we have most of my customers are channel partners, and you definitely hear it, especially when you go to the conferences, because they talk.
But of course, and what you'll also get. So I'm thinking alone now. But I can remember an Italian company talking to me when I was talking to the Italian company was the vendor, and I forget which product they had now, but. And they were telling me what channel they had. They created a channel. They'd say, "Oh, we got channel partners inside the UK." I said, "Oh, really? That's interesting. Who are they? How much business are you doing?" "Well, we're not doing very much at the moment because they've only just started." So what you'll also get, if you've got to be careful of, is that as a vendor, is you'll get people who want to collect badges. Yeah. So
right.
They'll tell you that they've got this amazing market, that they can take your product to market. But really, all they want is to put your badge on their website so it looks good.
Yeah.
And then but there's no management of this. So I expect from channel part, I expect a sales plan, I expect sales targets. Now that's a kind of touchy area with distributors because they're not your company. So what you end up doing is you end up agreeing a sales plan, a business plan. And depending how tough you are, I mean, some of the vendors have strong, unique brands that they can basically dictate.
Yeah.
But most don't, and so you have to have a relationship, just like you do with a sales guy. So we agree some targets, and then if we're not on track, then you review it and say, well, how can we get back on track? What can we do? How can we help you? How can we help you grow? Because ultimately, that distributor or that distributor or reseller further down the chain, they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to grow their businesses. So anything you can do to help that vendor grow the business through their channel to their resellers, and in your case, pulling opportunity through that channel for the vendor. It's a dream for the channel for the resellers.
So in your case, so you come in, you analyze it. I assume you stepped up the practice, wrapped your arms around the resellers, and did you find that the competition covered you? Like you had competitors that were in there, like they can see what you're doing.
But they don't
Did they cover you?
No.
And they're watching you go from 60 to $120, doubling.
No.
Does anybody cover you?
No.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And it just.
I tell you, it's the craziest thing.
Hey, listen, you obviously got your smart, you've got your big smart organizations that know what it. I mean,
that's not the way we do business. Hey, you just lost. Somebody lost $60 million worth of business, or a number of companies, right? Lost 60. You took 60 from someone else. You ate their lunch.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like your sales guy.
Our sales are down. Yeah, these guys are doing this. Yeah, no, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. What? But it's true. That's the cool thing about all of this. You literally can go to companies and give their playbook. And I think it was Gail Goodman, and I may be wrong in this, but she wrote this book on engagement marketing, and she took, I think I have the numbers right, Constant Contact, email marketing platform. Yeah. When she started, I think they were at 50,000 customers. She took them from 50,000 to 500,000. And she had a team of people who would just go out and engage end users, to help coach them on how to grow their business through email marketing. They weren't allowed to sell. They were just coaches, 10 or 12 of them. Pretty expensive. And she was so confident that her competitors would, and when I went to one of the coaching things, I was so impressed. They're like, not only if you do this, if you help your customers, with information about your product, when it comes time for them to buy, not only will they buy your product, they'll buy your product at a higher price. And I'm like, translation, I'm going to use Constant Contact when I choose to use an email platform, and I'm going to pay more. They're right. And they whooped everyone. I think she wrote the book while she was CEO.
I can imagine. Yeah.
It's like,
but
I'm not even afraid of these guys, because I'll tell you my whole game plan. I know you losers won't change your mind. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of this coaching stuff. Like you guys, if you walk away with any of the ideas that David or any of our other guests who've had this great success, you can literally walk into your competition and say, this is how we're whooping your butt, and they won't change.
Let's not forget, crazy. In selling through the channel isn't easy. I mean, you'll get. I mean, I've had them. You get. I think I told you about one company where we were in 47 countries, or 47 distributors in 47 countries, and of those 47, I would say 3-4 had really, really good marketing teams. Sales and great teams, great sales teams, but the rest of them didn't. Mm-hmm. And so we had to help those others to bring them up to speed, to help them achieve their market. And you know what, Larry? Not all distributors want to help you. So it sounds crazy, but not all partners actually want to. They don't want to let you into their world. It's their world. It's their customers.
Protective.
Certainly, if you look at the Asian markets, so as a vendor, what you really want is you want to understand your marketplace. You want to understand who that reseller is selling to, in order for you to plan the right kind of marketing campaigns or telemarketing campaigns or whatever kind of campaigns you do. So there's nothing subversive about it. You just want to know in order to help your channel. Unfortunately, in some parts of the world, they don't want you to know who their customers are, and so they'll keep it very close to their chest.
Right.
And it takes a long time, a lot of effort to try and open up that, to get an open, trusting relationship where you can actually work with them. And so it's not always straightforward. It's not,
Right.
And some will be really open and really helpful. Others will, it's like salespeople. You have all manner of different capability in your network.
You said something that I don't know where. I'm sure we've all heard the barriers to entry, right? Difficulty in execution, difficulty in adoption. Awesome. The more difficult it is to execute, awesome. I want to do a plan, and this whole thing about like advertising on Google, all you got to do is give them money, right? You just give them money. So everybody gives them money. Well, that ship has sailed because the amount of money you're paying per click. I got to scoot soon. Wow, time.
Producer Jeff.
Yeah. We are short on time. Normally we just run, but that
he told me he was on a mission.
He's a man on a mission.
Yeah.
He's a man on a mission. You want these barriers to entry. You want it to be difficult because your weak competition, the minute they find some resistance or they don't have success. But here's what I wanted to say. If you're a vendor, because I deal with some vendors, but I deal with a lot of resellers.
Sure.
And the biggest thing I can say to resellers and the vendors is, adopt that long-term perspective.
Definitely.
Right? So I have to figure out my target market for where I'm in. Let's say you're a reseller in Cincinnati. You have to figure out, okay, who are all the people I want to sell to, identify that target market, and then just keep marketing to them. And one of the things the vendors can do, because they've got maybe better marketing expertise to be able to help them, like, okay, how do we engage these customers in the long run? Let them to self-identify, and then that's you're going to reap the rewards. And the things that take 6 months, 9 months, 12 months to catch on, that's what you want. You don't, the Google thing, that's what I was saying. Google, you just give them your money. Right now, you can go on Google and you can give them a ton of money, and the amount of money that you would have to pay to become first person in search engine results, because, by the way, based on your adoption rate, based on how many clicks you get, you might get that first position for less money, because that is a battle. The amount of money it takes these days for clicks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous because it's easy. I just hire a consultant and I just give them lots of money, and then all of a sudden it's just bid up, bid up, bid up. It's crazy.
And the other thing, Larry, is is back to our conversation about recruiting the right salespeople. It's no different from recruiting the right channel partner. So if you're a vendor looking for a channel partner, don't just just as you meet somebody at an exhibition or at some conference somewhere and they say, oh yeah, we can distribute your product for you. Forget it. Then you need to have really clear criteria for what you want that distribution partner or channel partner to do for you. Do they know the local market? Do they understand your product set, your broad product set? What kind of sales team have they got? How long have they been in business? If they're stockists, what's their stock policy, and so on. There are clear things that, depending on what kind of vendor you are, the clear criteria, and make your people stick to it and actually find the right partners. If you do, it'll pay dividends.
Yeah, and I think if you're a vendor, if there's one thing, right? We're always looking for one simple thing. If you have, because I deal with thousands of different channel partners in all different types of, telephony and the furniture business and, a lot of different industries. Get them to adopt the long view, because too many of them are looking for a quick fix. There is no quick fix. There is no quick fix with solution selling. And a lot of the things like phones and MSP, of course, is a solution sale. And you can help them and guide them through educational programs like what you do, and say, look, guys, this takes time, and you've got to get your sales team oriented. There's lots of holes, and the funnel is leaky, right? There's a lot of leaks in the funnel.
And for me, Larry, I've got to go for two things. You know me. The two things are: choose your right channel partner in the first place, make sure they fit, and then help them sell your products.
So here's a suggestion: those that are going to adopt, or those that are already kicking butt. Like if they're just kicking butt and they won't listen to you, fine. They're a rock star. God bless. Let's help. How can we help you? But yeah, great stuff.
That's it.
Awesome. That's all we got time for. Sorry, I got to scoot. I got to ski-daddle. Get out of here.
Where's your
Adios.
coach? Where's your coach?
Where's my coach? Yeah.
Yeah.
I need a life coach. Rockstar.
That's me.
Yes. Great session today. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Larry.
David Parry.
As all.
Great to see you.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Got a little feisty there.
Yeah, it did.
Got a little feisty there.
Yeah, but that's good. It's
go for higher margin. If you're going to put the effort in, damn it, get more margin. You deserve it.
I was sweating watching. I was sweating watching.
But you should. Like, I'm not going to put extra effort in. Be smart. Be smart. Go for two things, man. You can, and the first thing is just, well, anyway, stop it. Stop. I can't let it go. I can't let it go. It's like such a...
I said to you when we said we were going to talk about channel, we could make 10 podcasts just on the channel.
Yeah, just on the channel. Well, we should go back to this because I think we can help both sides. I think helping the channel understand that the vendors want to help you and they're not, and the other thing is, when I went to B school, they one of the lessons that I got out of that very few was your vendors, or in their case, the vendors have tons of information on what makes people successful because they see hundreds or thousands of channel partners.
Yeah.
And they can tell you, like, hey, the top 10%, they're doing A, B, C.
Exactly.
And more importantly, this is how they view their business. Yeah. This is how they adopt new ideas. And that's what you should be doing. You should be.
I am so passionate about the channel because I've done it, seen it, and I've seen the things that will work, but I've also seen the opposite. When it's failed miserably. And
I've been at events where there's a bunch of channel partners, MSPs, and I was at this one event, and there's I won't mention their name, but very famous, legendary coach for MSPs. And, walking around are MSPs with, tripled their sales, quadrupled their sales, 38% net profit. And, they've got particular things like you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. And there's some really good coaches in that space. I said to one of the, I'm sitting at a table and I'm like, well, what do you think about, this person? Well, I don't really agree with this, and this. And they start to pick apart like the model that this person to get together. And I'm like, well, what are your sales? And they were like, I don't know, million or 2 million. And I'm like, are you at plus 30% net? No. 20% net? Yeah. No. I'm like, okay, nice talking to you. It's like there are people walking around like that are crushing you, and you're gonna look at this rock star, this legend, and you're gonna be like, nah, well, I don't believe in this part, I don't believe in that part. You're literally dissecting all the stuff that makes, and you're at a table, and oh, by the way, that guy took his company from, $1 million in revenue with like a crappy 50 grand in net profit to like 6 to 8 million with like 2.5, 3 million in profit, and just sold the thing for like God knows what, 15 to 18 million bucks. You're still schlubbing it out. He's having lunch with you right here, and he adopted every freaking thing that that this coach has told him to do. But you've got a better idia,
exactly.
Mr. Low Margin, zero growth.
It's like for me in my world, Larry, when people say, well, that won't work or that won't work, I say, well, do you know what? The first time I did it was a fluke. At least I thought it was.
Because you don't know shit.
Second time, well, maybe it wasn't so much a fluke.
Yeah.
17 times later.
Yeah.
And you say, well, and it's not me, it's the businesses, but maybe there's something in it.
It blows my mind, especially when people are like, I'm so confident. Like, I know my competition, they're weak. I can literally, send them a PowerPoint presentation on exactly how I'm whooping their butts at a higher margin, and they won't change. They won't change a freaking thing.
Your ski instructor is waiting.
Yes. Sorry. All right. Thank you very much.
Great to talk to you, Larry.
Great to talk to you, David Parry. David, how can they reach you?
through you, obviously, but also through my website, which is Smart BRG, as in business recovery and growth. Smart BRG.
Business recovery and growth.
Smart BRG.
Smart BRG.
BRG. Yeah.
.com.
Or you can get me at LinkedIn. Of course, you'll find me on LinkedIn on either the Smart BRG or David Parry. Or you can call me on my cell phone. I'd be happy to talk to anyone that needs a little bit of help.
I would take them up on that.
Just UK is 44 779 225 116. That's 44 779 225 116. But I'm going to rely on producer Jeff to make sure that that's somewhere on this podcast, because you'll all forget.
It'll be on screen, maybe above his head to the left or below. I don't know.
Can it go surround my head? No, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah.
Right over.
Producer Jeff, thank you very much.
Thanks,
do you have
Jeff.
anything for our folks before we sign off?
Oh, yeah. Leave your questions and comments.
Yes. Also, yes, because this is I think we have 3 more in this series where we're dissecting this. But David, also in this series, but also as a frequent guest on the podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope you found this useful, and we'll see you next time.